back to what we've got.
I've used it and it is good. It works well. I also do offline marketing for local businesses, and I use the tracking a lot of Craigslist ads. I do for those folks.
Oh, cool. We may have to do a separate call for that. I'm curious about that. Anyway, all right. So, what are you currently doing to communicate with these leads?
Well, just recently, we brought on an assistant to start following up. Where I was generating a ton of leads, and we just unfortunately weren't following up with them. I mean, you get in the cycle, you follow up, you get somebody wants to look at houses, you're showing houses, leads are going by the wayside, they're falling through the cracks. The typical real estate cycle that we go through. So we've got a person that came on board and now is following up the leads as they come in, and also following up with the older leads. We've had this gal calling back the older leads for us.
And she's
trying
doing,
to see if we
doing
can
all
build
this
something
by phone? She's calling the ones that you have phone leads
Oh, yeah,
for?
she gets on the phone.
Okay.
She has no fear of the phone whatsoever, which is awesome.
What are you doing email-wise?
Most, I'm going to say about half of these are in a program that once they are into the system, they will get a series of emails, of autoresponder emails, and then it rolls them over into a monthly newsletter. I would say probably 15 to 1,800 of them are in that system. And then
Sorry, your audio went.
And then I'm not really generating, emailing them.
Sorry, your audio buzzed out for a second there. I got. There's a series of emails, and then they roll over, and then I think you were saying what the rest of them are in.
Yeah, the rest of them are in. I've got one program. When they come in, they're hooked up to an autoresponder. They get so many emails. They roll over into a monthly, and then the rest of them are all in my top producer.
They're just there. They're just
system
there
from the other various lead sources that don't have autoresponder attached.
Okay. Here's what we have found. The autoresponders just don't work. There may be a time where they had, and you may get, because you're doing such a volume of leads, you may get some response, but you're not going to get the best. And I think the reason why is people now know that they're in a, they're more savvy than they were 5-10 years ago. They know they're in an autoresponder series, and it just doesn't it just doesn't work the way it used to. So I want to talk about two things. One, a process for the first couple days, that a short autoresponder series that can work, and then what we have found that works better long term as a regular email communication process. So the first thing I would say is what we have found to work, and we've actually have a video. I'm going to find this video and put the link in this doc because I'm going to make the notes for this. I'm going to get them to you, and for anybody that maybe requests, maybe I'll share them. But Ryan did a video the other day on one-line email autoresponders. So rather than some canned long email, writing simply, so somebody opts in for whatever, cheap foreclosures under 100K. The immediate email that goes out is, and let's say the process, and I don't know your process, but let's say they opt in and they immediately get that list, like they put their email in and it gets taken to a page where either they can search or something.
Yeah.
The immediate autoresponder would be super simple, like, did you get the list? And it's just like, hey, this is Larry. Just wanted to make sure. This works best if there's an expectation of response, yes or no. So, hey, this is Larry. Did you get that the foreclosure list? Okay. Let me know.
Okay.
Thanks. And then tomorrow it's like, hey, what? I'm drawing a blank. We at our live, we had a live mastermind a couple, I guess it's a month ago now, a little more than a month ago, and there was a fella in Atlanta that had this down pat, and it was great. They were short and one line. Something will come to me, but the idea is that you have 2 or 3 emails that go out that are very short and sweet, and and each one creates an expectation of response, whether or not it's yes or no. Like, hey, I forgot to ask, are you looking for yourself or for investment purposes? And then the last one is, oh yeah, are you planning to buy with cash, or did you need financing? Things like this, which they're very short, and this one may not be the greatest to put in there because you might be getting a little bit more than they want to communicate with you this early on in the process. I'm just doing it more for illustration purposes. What are they more likely to read? A short email like this that seems like you actually wrote it to them, or a canned response? And I don't know what canned responses you're using with Top Producer, but my guess is they have the feel of a canned response.
Well, actually, the canned responses actually come from the other program that's attached to a website that I have and use.
Oh, okay.
That's built into their system. In my Talk Producer, I create the autoresponders. Like when people sign up for an IDX search, my IDX doesn't have an autoresponder built in, but it comes into Talk Producer, and Talk Producer will automatically then email them my response. But a day later, I have it wait a day.
Right.
And then I basically I think I heard you guys mention that before, and that's what I did.
Okay, good. So you're doing that
one
part.
or 2 sentences.
Okay, good.
Yeah, exactly. And people do respond to those. It sounds like I just typed a quick email to them. It's
right. That's the idea. And I'm glad to hear that you're doing that, but I'm also illustrating for those watching, because I think some people, we've been trying to really hammer that home, and I think some people still haven't gotten that point yet.
I listened to you.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So that's what I think short term. Now, long term, rather than having a monthly newsletter, I believe, and I think you can do this with all 3,000, is if once a week it was Larry's picks, Larry's picks of the week or something like that. And I'm sure you can come up with something more clever than that. But you feature 3 properties. One, which is the cheap foreclosure, and I would specifically, especially if you're busy, I would call it like the cash deal of the week. Mm-hmm. And it could be a foreclosure, or it wouldn't have to be a foreclosure, whatever. But by calling it that, hopefully you're setting the precedent that, hey, if you respond to this, you better be a cash buyer, because if you're buying a $30,000 house, we can't be hunting for a mortgage and doing all this stuff for that. So I'd have like the cash deal of the week. I'd have the, I don't know what I would call that middle price range.
First time home buyer, maybe?
Yeah, like a starter.
Starter home, yeah.
Yeah, starter home of the week. And then a luxury deal of the week. Something along these lines. And the reason this is particularly in Larry's scenario, where we've heard that Larry has several different types of potential buyers in that database. If I was talking to someone who was using the same hook, you maybe wouldn't need all three of these deals. You could just do, if you were just doing luxury deals, you could just do the luxury deal of the week.